Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So today we are going to work on the title of the video that you have already seen. So this is the code that we have to work on. So just to tell you about it, this is a basic poetry generator. So if you have a poetry that you want to generate, you can do that. And there are two possible ways to achieve it. Either you provide the data set yourself, or you can use any online library that you want, right? So I'm going to achieve this. I'm going to run this program and write the code from scratch using these two approaches basically. So whichever is feasible for you, use that. I'm going to use both the approaches. Now let's see the demo first, right? Otherwise it will be really vague to make it understand. So let's run this. So here you will be prompted, do you want to fetch poems online? So first let me do yes. So it will take some time to generate the poem because it takes a while. Now this is the poem. Now you have to copy it yourself, and there is a risk that you may copy the spaces as well, right? So I have this option as well, that do you want to save this poem? If you want to do that, you can press yes. When you do that, the poem will be generated to this txt file. And if I go to my source folder, double click on this, and you can see that I have the poem with me with no spaces, so I can basically use it. Now the thing is that you can use the second option, which is provided data set. So here I have this data set with me, which I'm going to use. You can search for this data set anywhere. So if you just Google poem data set, you will get a lot of options, and that is how basically I got this. So nothing new there. So here if I say no, then it will ask me to provide the data set. So I'll just paste it over here, and as you can see, I have the generated poem with me now. So the text is not that big, but if you have to provide the data set, you should keep it as long as possible. So if it is big enough, then it can create or use the subset of that data set. So that is the agenda here. I have used a very small, not that small, but it is kind of small, and so but still it is going to generate the poem for you. So as you can see, we have 4 sentences here, and if I want to save it, I can save it, but right? So these are the two options that you can do. Now the thing is, I have the number of lines with me, as in the number of sentences. So you can change it to maybe increase it or decrease it according to you. But if you have a small data set provided by yourself, then in that case you should keep it according to the data set. So if your data set is not that big, then this should also be not that big, right? So keep that in mind. Now enough rubbish. Now let's work on the code. But one humble request: if you are new to this channel, or if you are watching my videos but not yet subscribed, please do that. It's a humble request. And now let's continue. So what I will do is, I'll remove everything from here, and let's work on it fresh. So what my plan is basically, I'll write something down and then I'll explain. So first thing first is, what do you need to import? So I basically need 3 things to import. First is your random. So this is to generate random things. I'll explain. And then you need request, which is for basically your online data set. And then you need string. This is because you are going to work on strings a lot. Now talking about a more detailed explanation, so this brings in this is going to help you in generating random numbers or selecting random elements from a list. Now request, this is used to make HTTP request, that is basically fetching data from the internet. Now string, this is a very useful constant. So this is basically a big string module, which so from here we are just going to use punctuation, which basically which contains all punctuation characters. So that's why I'm going to use this. Now the main method or the main logic of it is going to be this. So this function is basically going to take 2 arguments. One is going to be a text, which is going to be the input poem or text, and then the number of words to consider together which is basically called as n grams. By default we are going to set it as 1. Now as we are going to get text which is basically is going to be your entire thing to compute on, so I have to split it. So I'll split it like this, and then I'll get the data into a variable. Alright, now I need to create a chain basically. So I'll have this dictionary with me. So this dictionary basically is going to be used to store the relationship between words. Now if you don't know about Markov chain, so this is a mathematical concept which a lot of people use to model systems that transition from one state to another. So here the transition depends only on the current state and not on the previous state. So in simpler terms, this Markov chain has a memoryless property, meaning the future depends only on present, right? So if we talk about more simpler terms, imagine a weather system with only two states, sunny and rainy. So a Markov chain might model the weather like if it is sunny today, there is a 70% chance that it will be sunny tomorrow, and a 30% chance that it will be rainy tomorrow, right? So if it is rainy today, in that case there is a 50% chance that it will be sunny tomorrow, and 50% chance that it will be rainy tomorrow. So this is what you can say is Markov chain. So here we have state, we have transition, and then we have building the chain. Afterwards we will generate the new text. So this is what we are going to follow here. So this is a complete whole new topic. So what I will do is, okay, let me explain it. I think this will help in longer terms. So let's take an example. Let's say that you have small corpus of text like the cat sat on the mat, the dog sat on the mat, the cat jumped off the mat. So here the possible states or words are the cat sat on the mat, dog jumped off, right? So here the transitions might look like this. So here you can see that there is a from, there is a to state, and for each possible word we have a probability. So when generating new text, you would start with a word like the, then randomly pick a word to follow it based on the transition probabilities. So for example, it could pick a cat or a dog. So this process continues until a desired length of text is generated. So that is a breakpoint, right? So just to summarize, a system where the next state depends only on the current state, that is Markov chain. So this is memoryless because it doesn't remember past states, only the current state matters. Now for text generation, for which we are using here, it models word sequences based on probabilities, helping to generate new text that mimics the structure of the input text. Now coming back to the code, so here we have to iterate over our words. So we will iterate like this. Now here we have this -n. So what this is basically going to do is this starts a loop that will iterate over the words in the word list. The loop will stop n words before the end of the list to prevent going out of bounds when we look ahead and bounds, right? Now we need to create a tuple. I don't know if it is tuple or tuple, but yeah. Now this is going to create a key by taking a slice of n consecutive words from the list. So how do we do that? We will just do words, and then we will do I till I plus n, like this. Let me do it like this. Okay, I forgot I here. For I in n, and we have words like this. Okay, Now here, let's say if n is equals to 2, in that case the word list is, let's say, hello world. Okay, let me do it like this. So let's suppose that you have words list like this. So you have hello world, how. So this is a complete sentence which we have broken down, right? So hello world, how are you? That was the sentence. Now we have broken it down. So this is a list with you. Now let's say if n equals to 2, right now it is 1, but let's suppose n equals to 2. In that case, the first key here, what will that be? It will be just hello world, right? So this is what we are going to achieve here. Now let me remove this. Now what we are going to do is, when we have the key with us, we will do this chain dot set default. So here we are creating a default key value pair. So key is going to be empty, sorry, value is going to be empty, and then empty list, and then we are just going to do words. So this basically adds the next word, the word that follows the next word. So we had hello world, how are you, right? So after hello world, whatever we had, so this is going to add that, append that to this. So this set default method ensures that the key exists in the dictionary. If it doesn't, it is going to create it, and then it is going to append the next set of words to the list associated with that key. All right. Now once that combination is completely done, in that case we will just return this chain. Now we have the Markov chain with us. Now we are going to generate the poem. So let's create another method, generate poem. Now this is going to have arguments, your chain, number of lines, minimum words and maximum words. So let's create an empty list for now, which we will fill later. So this code random, so here we are going to use random. Let's convert it to list chain dot keys. So this is going to randomly pick a starting point from the Markov chain. Now when we have the random, now we have the starting point, so let's iterate. So this is going to loop the number of lines times, basically let's say n times, to create each line of the poem. So first thing first is to convert it to list again. So this starts the line with the current key, which is basically a tuple of words. Now we are going to have another for loop. So random dot random integer, and then we are going to use min and max here. So min words, max word, and here we are going to subtract it with the length of key. All right, explanation. So this for loop, this is going to iterate over each line, and the number of words will be added randomly. So this addition is going to be between minimum words and maximum words. So yeah. Now why this length key is subtracted? So the loop should add enough words to complete the line, but it starts with a key, which means there are already this number of words in the line. So to avoid adding too many words to the line, we subtract the number of words already in the key from the total target number of words, which will ensure that the line has a random number of words, but it doesn't exceed the target number of words. All right, now there is going to be a if condition, if key in chain. So this checks if the current tuple of words is in the Markov chain or not, and that is what we want. So when that is true, in that case we will fetch the next word using again random. So this picks a random next word from the list of words that can follow this tuple. Now when we have that word, we are just going to append it. So we got our first word, and then we will get the next key, right? So first we started with the first one. This was our starting point. Now we are creating the another starting point, right? So this is going to be tuple line, and this is going to length key. All right. So this updates the key to the last n words in the line. So this shifts the window of words to keep generating the next word, right? Now this length key, this gives the number of words in the current key, right? Now this negation here, this slice takes the last length key words from the line list. Okay, so let me explain in more simpler terms. Let's say that you have the cat sat. Okay, now this is the line, and let's say the key is like cat and sat. Okay, so this is your line and this is your tuple. Alright, now here the length of key is basically 2. Okay, let me give it key. Okay, length of key is 2. Now the negation length, this gives you the last 2 words of the line, which is cat and sat, right, from this list. So that is what we want. I hope this part is clear now. Now what if the key is not in chain? In that case we would want to fetch another key. Choice, and we'll say, so I could have copied the same line. So we will find another starting point. Alright, so this means that if no text word is found, it randomly picks another starting point from the chain. Now when we are done with our second for loop, in that case we would say append and join it with spaces. So first we split it, now we are joining it, and we'll say line. So this joins the word in the line and appends it to the poem. Now afterwards we are just going to return it. With a new line, and then join poem. So now we have joined a sentences basically with a new line. So this joins all the lines of the poem with new lines between them and returns the poem. Alright, so we got our 2 major methods done. Now a minor one is going to be just pre-processing of your text. So here we will get the text, and here we are not going to do anything. It's just to lowercase first. Everything is going to be in lowercase, and then we are just going to translate. So this function prepares the text before building the Markov chain by removing punctuation and converting the text to lowercase. So this removes all punctuation marks from the text using string dot punctuation. So we have punctuations like you have this full stop, and you have comma, you have this exclamation mark, right? So yeah, this is what we don't need. Now when you are working on the online fetching of the data set or the poem basically, so in that case you need to fetch poems online. So we will have another method. So this is what we need. We are going to hit a request to this. So this is just an example API. You can use any other API, which one is your choice basically. So this function is to fetch a collection of poems from an online source, and this is just an HTTP GET request to an online API, and I'm going to go with Poetry TV here to retrieve a list of poems. Now this raise for status, this checks if the request was successful. So if this is not successful, this request, if it is not successful, in that case it raises an error where we come here. If not, in that case we will fetch the response as in JSON format. So this converts the data into a Python dictionary, which is your JSON format. Now at last we are just going to join all the lines of the fetched poem into one long string of text, right? So remember, this is one long string of text. All right, now yeah, that's it. Now we will have our input function as in your main function, where you will have user prompts and stuff like that. So let's create main. So here we will say input do you want to fetch poems online, and we'll say yes or no, like this. And then we will strip the any additional spaces and lower it down. Now if the choice is yes, in that case we have to fetch from the online database. So fetch poems online. Now let's say if in case you got this exception, in that case we are returning empty. So what we do is we will check if it is empty or not. So if it is empty, in that case we will print fail to fetch poems, please enter dataset manually. Alright, and in that case we will prompt again enter your poem dataset and new line. Now if the choice is no, in that case again we have to fetch from the dataset. So let's copy this. Now let's say somehow if we didn't get any dataset still, in that case we will print no data set provided exiting, and we will return. Now hopefully let's say if we got the dataset, in this case we will first pre-process it, and then we will build the Markov chain, and here we will provide the poem dataset and n equals to 2, right? So here we have initialized it as 1, but we are providing the value as 2. Now we will get the new poem. From the generation. So here we will provide Markov chain. Then we will simply print generated poem and print new poem. Alright, now we will have the option to save or not. Do you want to save this poem? Yes or no? Again, we will strip it and lower it. So if the choice is yes, sorry, I am having a bad habit of using Java, so that's why I'm using wrong colon. Now in that case we will have to open a file. So I'm going to go with generated poem.txt and then I'll do write mode as file, and then I'll write new poem. Okay, I forgot double equals here. Else, okay, then we will print also that poem saved to generated poem.txt. Alright, now else we don't need. Now we will simply say in that case just run main method. Alright, so we have everything. Now let's hit it. So do you want to fetch poems online? Yes please. So let's wait, and we got the poem. Do you want to save? Okay, so if you see here we didn't got the space, so let's add the space here and fix this typo as well. Stop it and let's do /n here and here also. And here. Alright, let's run this again. Do you want to fetch poems online? And this is much better. Yes. So generated poem, we got the poem here. Do you want to save this poem? Let's say no. And okay, let me delete this file so that we don't have this confusion. So let's try one more time. Yes. No. So in this case we should not see the file and we don't have it, right? Now let's rerun it. Let's generate the file. Yes. And yes again. Poem saved. Now let's open it and you see the poem, right? Alright, now let's try the dataset one. No. Okay, so one thing which I didn't see is that it didn't wait for the prompt yes or no. It actually exited without that. So let's fix it. Also generated poem, and here we don't see a space. So if it is not yes, in that case we are asking for the data set. That's good, and then it should work like this, but we didn't got the space before generated poem. Why is that? Alright, so first thing first is to fix the user prompt thing. So here we need to have a loop because we need to wait. So let's do that. Let's put this inside. So if save choice and yes or no, only these options, in that case we will break out of the loop, otherwise we will keep on waiting, right? Hopefully this will work. Okay, so in that case, so for this let's do one more slash and let's see. Yeah, it should have worked. Okay, let's do no. Copy the data set. Okay, so we got the space, we got the poem, and okay, so this is the problem. So it is keeping on generating. So it generated 5 times. Why? Still it's saying when I have provided yes. Alright, so what I have done is I have just added this print statement to see what I'm getting here. So let's run this. So let's do no here, and let's copy data set. Okay, so here we have, okay, I missed slash n here. So it seems that in the raw input we are getting the data from the data set. Okay, that is why this is not working, and the reason is that this is not in single line. So yeah, that is what causing this issue. So let me do one thing. Let me remove spacing from here. Also, the data set, original data set should not have spaces, right? So I missed this completely. Now let me run this again. Let's see, let me copy this. Alright, so let's say no and enter the data set. So here if you see, it is waiting for me to press enter here. Previously it was not waiting for me at all. So that was suspicious. I could have guessed it then and there, but anyways, you got the generated poems. Now it is waiting for you to either say yes or no. So let's say no first, and we got exited, which is good. Now let's say no here, data set, and let's say yes. Okay, so here the poem is being used across different sectors. So you got this poem here. Now you can remove this debug statement from here. We don't need it now. But yeah, so this is the correction that we needed. And this is it for this video. If you loved this content, please press the like button, share and subscribe. So I will put this code somewhere in the GitHub repository. You can take a look from there. And if you haven't subscribed till now, please do that. I will meet you in some another video. Till then, have a good day, stay happy, and bye bye.